You had the one
CAD
that's
is past tense. I just don't know. CAD is past tense. So if you were to say, I
That might
had
be
a
him.
good time, that means you've already had it.
See, this is why I don't talk to my mom a lot, because she's an English teacher. You're
Good evening, everyone. At this time, we're going to call the High Springs City Commission meeting to order at 6:31. Please stand for the invocation by Pastor Dale and Father Ned, the Pledge of Allegiance.
They would pray. Almighty God, who has taught us in life and teaching of thy Son the way of true blessedness, and has shown us in his suffering and death the path of love, is the best way and is your way. Give us grace as our community leaders, as our commission, seek to do what is just and right and true in this community. Bless them with thy grace, thy goodness. Bless them with thy wisdom, thy charity. Bless them with thy clarity of purpose. And for those who are here this evening to hear the discussion and to ask their questions and to give their insight, we ask that you guide them in their discussion, in their questions, that what they say and what they do may help to lead the way to a better community. For this is your wish. This is your desire. This is why you visit with us each day. We pray these things in the name of Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor. At this time, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Evans?
Here.
Commissioner Jameson?
Here.
Commissioner Weller?
Here.
Vice Mayor James?
Here.
Mayor Williams?
Here. At this time, I entertain a motion for the approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second, and a discussion of questions. In that, all in favor, come by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. At this time, entertain a motion for the approval of the minutes for January the 12th, 2016 workshop, and January the 14th, 2016 commission meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the 3 minutes, the 2 workshop minutes for January 12th and the January 14th commission workshop.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions or comments? In that, all in favor, come by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, at this time, we have a presentation by Chief Joe DeCourcy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, Madam Attorney. This is a good part of my job. If you would, I'd like to ask Officer Downing to come up, and he's the one recommended this action, and this is something that we really, truly believe in, and this is what makes it a good community. He's the principal.
Thank you, Chief. Good evening, everybody. I'd like to introduce Ms. McNeil. She's a principal for the High Springs Community School. And I'd like to have her come up. And part of the presentation.
Good evening.
This happened prior to me becoming chief. Officer Downing thought it was appropriate to recommend for an award, and this is the scenario that occurred on December 14th, 2015 at approximately 11:30 hours. A 7th grader male student at the High Springs Community School began choking on food in the hallway between classes. The student first ran to the office and then to the school clinic in extreme respiratory distress. He was getting no air. He was quickly losing consciousness. Ms. Green, the school nurse, began administering first aid, which included numerous attempts of the hybrid maneuver, resulting in no change in the student's condition. During this time, Mr. McMahon, middle school teacher, and Mrs. Sakaya, an elementary school teacher, saw the commotion and entered the clinic to offer assistance. Mr. McMahon, Mrs. Sakaya, and the school and Nurse Green continued their efforts to save the student by trying to dislodge the obstruction in the student's airway. With this condition rapidly deteriorating, CPR needed to be administered. After several more minutes of efforts, including abdominal thrust and CPR, the student finally expelled the obstruction and began to slowly breathe on his own. Emergency personnel who arrived on scene to treat and transport the victim commented that the actions of these individuals most likely saved the life of the student. It is recommended that Nurse Green, Mr. McMahon, and Ms. Sakaya be recognized for their actions, that they received a life-saving award, and that a copy of this award be placed in their permanent files at the school board of Alachua County. I think that deserves applause. These are the real heroes.
I'd like to introduce to everyone Nurse Janelle Green and teacher Sherry Sakai. Mr. Mann could not be here.
Thank you so much.
And these are the certifications and the recognition that we would like to present to you on behalf of the City of High Springs and the Alachua Police Department.
Please.
High Springs Police Department.
I apologize. The High Springs Police Department. Don't recommend me, Mr. Booth. On the behalf of the High Springs Police Department and Officer Downing, we really appreciate the services and the community and the dedicated professionals that we have at the school and throughout this community. This is a blessed community, and our children are safe, and Officer Downing is doing a phenomenal job at the school, and just some other things that are coming forth will you be privy to, but it's a wonderful opportunity, and thank you for this chance. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. It's good to recognize good work. So many times we always see the negative instead of the positive. So again, thank you so much, Chief, and Principal and nurse and teacher. Thank y'all so much. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to unfinished business, review and approve final Wild Places Public Space Project list. Mr. Booth?
Yes, sir. This is a list of those that the staff came up with. We try to make them as inclusive as we possibly could. I put the approximate cost there. They by no means need to meet the actual cost. They are just some kind of a projection. However, projects need to be on the list if they pass the tax. And so we tried to expand those as much as we possibly could to cover everything that we might need.
Mr. Mayor, the only issue, not an issue, but suggestion I would have for on the number one, which is the purchase on the Ladano property, would be that we add additional monies. I think this is for purchase of it, but if this property is purchased and it is then turned into a passive park, there will be monies will be needed to pay for parking, that type of thing. I think this is just an amount in there, if I'm correct, for the purchase of it.
Well, for everything. Again, the numbers, we're not held to the numbers that I put in. Those are just for planning purposes. The projects are the ones that are important because they have to be on the list for us to do that. The monies don't need to be anywhere close to what the actual cost is.
So if the cost goes over, because the way I understood it is, if the cost was less than what you had, then that money would roll down into whatever other projects are left. I just wanted to make sure that we would have enough in there.
It is.
You know.
In my discussion, I guess, with the county manager.
Okay.
We're not held to that amount.
Okay.
But we're held to the project. But if the amount goes over, it just comes out of our money.
Okay.
And you're not able to do one of the other projects.
Oh, good. Okay. All right, then that's fine.
Yes.
Mr. Manager, at this point in time, we've got a list, we've got numbers, but that's not necessarily the priority of the project, is it?
No,
We just have to have the number of projects.
well, I prioritize them, but it doesn't mean we have to do them in order.
Okay.
Doesn't mean we have to do one. We could do number 9, and then do number 7.
Okay.
That's pretty much the question I had. And then also on number 7, you said lights and parks. That when you're saying lights and parks, you mean that's all parks and Pacific Park you're talking about, or just parks?
Those parks that need additional lighting. I think the Memorial Park needs a few lights. We're looking at Catherine Taylor Park that needs a few more lights.
Any other?
Just clarification. So let's say we're given $1 million. And I don't know what it is. I'm just throwing it out there. At what point in time then do we basically give them a list of the first, or do they give us the $1 million and we choose it? Because I think at some point in time, we will have to decide
Right, the commission.
the order.
That's correct.
That's not a requisite now. So if we turn this in with this same numbering system like you have on there, we're not obligated within that order to go. I just want to clarify that. Okay. So let's remove the numbers.
Do that too.
If they're not, I'm just saying if they're not, let's just give them a list without a numerical. Does that make sense?
It did. However, the commission asked me.
No, I know that. I'm just.
But yes, we just take those numbers off.
I was gonna say, you could also up at the top indicate that this is a non-prioritized.
That's fine. I just, okay, we could just add that. That's fine.
I agree with the commissioner, just to make sure everybody's on the same page. I would prioritize something.
Sure.
Okay. So what do we need to do then? Do we need to approve this list?
Make a motion to approve, I guess, right?
We need a motion to approve it, this list?
Make a motion to approve the list as written with the addition of the disclaimer at the top, not the prioritized.
I'll second.
Whatever verbiage.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Anyone from the audience? Speak on this issue. Okay. Hearing none, all in favor, let come by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Moving to citizens' requests and comments for issues not on the agenda. Please give your name for the record and limit your comments to 5 minutes.
I think there was a gentleman that.
Good evening. My name is Norm Swarthout, and I live at 17017 Northwest 244th Street in Southside Terrace. My concern tonight is the lack of regularly scheduled pickup of yard waste and garbage on Northwest 244th Street in Southside Terrace. Since WCA took over the supposed pickup of the garbage, we've missed it at least 12 times. We have called WCA. We've had their route supervisors out there. They don't see a problem where we're putting it, but their truck doesn't make it down the road. Now, we get 3 trucks. We get the garbage, we get the yard waste, and we get the recycle. Recycle hits it every time. Yard waste and garbage, it's a flip of the coin. This last week, the reason I'm here is because they didn't pick it up, and we called them Monday. They called back and said they couldn't find our street. They had no idea. They had a man out there with the garbage truck. There was no garbage cans out, and they don't know where we're at. Tuesday, they found the street. I'm hoping that by bringing this to the attention of the commission, maybe some other citizens in the city have had the problem. I don't know. I do know the 5 houses on our street don't get regular pickup. And I appreciate anything you could do. Thank you.
If David's here, we'll make sure that we actually locate his street, show the garbage people where it's at.
Maybe they need a map specifically where it is
Yeah.
to keep in their truck. You know, that's how you
So
get to it.
David, is a street sign up?
Mhm.
What's
David,
the-
I'm curious. Go ahead, come on up, sir. I'm curious, would it, since it's random, and this is just something maybe we can ask, would they have like a substitute driver at those
They
times? to
might,
where-
if one of them, if their driver calls in sick, that might be why they couldn't find it Monday. They had a different driver come by to pick it up, and then Tuesday when they found it, it was the driver that normally on that route.
So we would express to them though,
Mhm.
that's not our problem.
Right, I'll make sure, they have a list, they do have a list that, where they verify they get, and I'll make sure his address gets on it.
Well, okay, I'm just saying, it's to simply say that I got a sub and they couldn't find it, to me,
Right.
is not
No,
acceptable.
no, it's not.
Okay,
They should have a map of the route.
Right, exactly, in that truck.
okay,
They should.
you'll take care of that.
Yes,
Can I
sir.
say one more thing? All the city people I've talked to have been very helpful. Every one of them has made phone calls, they've sent emails. I'm sure there's a documented record someplace. I know in August, I talked to Courtney. November, I talked to Linda. I talked to Linda again the other day. The city's doing what they can, but the garbage people just can't give them. And they pick up the whole other subdivision. They just go, I've got a 3-foot by 3-foot sign I put down the end of the road. Yard waste this way. You missed that, please. I'm sorry. I'm mad. I want my yard waste and garbage picked up.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name is Robert Strickland. I live over in Southside, and I'm having the same problem with my neighbor is with the trash pickup. And I can't understand why they go by our street. I mean, we never had a problem until the city went to 911. And I know I live on Northwest 244th Street, and there was, I don't know if the city changed or not, but up by the First Baptist Church, I think it's 1 block long, it's a 244th Street Northwest. The way the bird flies is about a mile. If you drive, it's about 3 miles. And I think that's what the problem is. You got 244th Street. I called the trash people when Lake City was doing it, called here, and I think that's what it is. It's our street's a dead-end street, 5 houses on it. And when I talked to Lake City, they said, well, we already picked up 244th Street. But I tried to tell them we have 2. They said, no, you don't. And I don't know if they're going by their GPSs or not. And one other thing, before the chief here took office back when the city was doing their own dispatching, I had a slight problem at the house, and I called the High Spring Police Department, and they wanted to know if it was an emergency, and I said no, and they said, we'll send an officer over. And about 10 minutes went by, maybe 15, I got a call. It was from the police officer. How do you find Northwest 244th Street? And about 10 minutes later, I got another call from her. I just gave myself away, so to her. I wasn't gonna do that, I'm sorry. But then I got the third call, and I said, well, she said, okay, I found your street, but, you know, it took her 30 minutes. And I think the problem is there's 244 streets. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we know that there's two?
If there is, I'll talk to Bob, or not, but Bruce, and we will definitely solve that. There are two streets named 244, then that was the way. County.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
Mr. Booth, when we find that out, I mean, can David or somebody, just
We'll
communicate
notify. Yes,
communicate with the gentleman so they know?
we will.
Okay.
We could get your phone number. You could give it to Dave.
Anyone else? Go down to new business. Item number 1, consider resolution 2016-A.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is resolution 2016A, a resolution of the City of High Springs, Florida, in opposition to the Alachua County proposed stormwater regulations, repealing all resolutions in conflict and establishing an effective date. The appropriate motion is to pass resolution 2016-A upon reading by title only.
Ready reading of the resolution. Commissioner, what's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve or pass resolution number 2016-A and to have that resolution forwarded as well to the county.
We got a motion in a second.
You want to talk about it?
I just like if you could give an explanation what it is so that people out here, and then if you could
Sure.
just explain what we're doing.
The county would like to control the cities. One way they would like to do so is by permitting stormwater. And it would mean that you would get a building permit in High Springs, but for your stormwater, you have to go to the county. And we have some reservations. In our land development code, actually, it's stricter than Swanee River Water Management District. It's very much like what the county would like to impose on it. What they can't control is the highway, the Department of Transportation Roads, agriculture. All they can really do is control the city.
Try to control.
Try to control.
So,
And this is one of many efforts that they have put forward in the past. And this one, we would hope would go down the tube.
and what brought this about actually was that the county commission has set a deadline of wanting to come up with these regulations by, I think it's June, and that we feel that that's just way too quick to go through this and understand what all the ramifications would be of what's being proposed. So this resolution actually is asking them to slow down the process.
Any questions from the audience? All right, Madam Clerk? Yes.
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 Thank you, ma'am. Okay, moving on to item number 2, to discuss changing Northwest 31st Street back to Martin Luther King Jr. I asked this to be put on the agenda for tonight. We all know that used to be called Martin Luther King Jr. Some of the residents in that area would like for us to change it back to that. And also, it won't affect that many residents in that area. I think maybe 5 to 6 at the most. Allen Chapel, Jeremiah Young, Miss Maxine, and I'm not sure about Duke Energy. I can't tell where their front door is. I don't know where their front door is, Duke Energy,
Mhm.
and then whatever those, office complexes there. And it stops right there after you pass that complex. I rode in other areas, Steve, to, 231, go further back, behind where you used to stay, Mr. Bowie. What's the name of that little subdivision behind the school?
Come on, Bailey. Not Bailey Estates.
Yeah, but I ruled all those
Yeah.
communities back there, and then once you get back in Bailey Estate, they become into lanes and places back up in there. It won't affect that many up in that area.
What we'd like to propose, I guess, the problem with MLK is that 441, the major road, is called Martin Luther King. What we'd like to do is, as we have done with Junction out front, is to put a brown sign that says Martin Luther King. And they would still wind up with their address there. The problem that they have with dispatch is there would be two Martin Luther King, and that they can't allow. But we certainly can put Martin Luther King in the brown sign underneath.
So 441 is called Martin Luther King? I thought that was 441.
No, it's actually Martin Luther King.
Where is it called Santa Fe Boulevard, though?
Yeah.
It's also, there's a name up there that says Santa Fe Boulevard, at least at some point.
Well, that's where it used to be. That's where kind of like in front of the bank.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. So I always thought that was Honorary Street. I didn't think that was actually.
No, that's really what they called it. And on my GPS, rather than say 441, it does come up Martin Luther King. But the county considers that the Martin Luther King, all 441, all the way through.
Mhm.
So I think that was done by the county many years ago.
Yeah, I think some mistake there, something years ago. I always thought it was Honorary Street. I didn't know the name was Martin Luther King. Because when I rode down there, I seen the brown sign that said Honorary Street
On 441?
on 441.
Yeah, it's because I don't know what is it officially, though. It may be,
I thought official was US 441 because
Yeah.
most people address
right,
out there
it's
is called
440, US 441.
US 441.
Right, they do, but really the official name is Martin Luther King.
So when somebody called in to 911, they give the address of Martin Luther King out there?
Yep. I don't know. Probably either that or 441.
I always thought it was 441. I know King, it says King, even my GPS. But it also said 441, and then sometimes it say Santa Fe Boulevard.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But that's up on this end, right? Santa Fe Boulevard. Right, but I think the main road
It says,
is dual name. 'Cause
Mhm.
Should we,
some signs say 441 and other signs say Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
But
Should-
it's the same road.
should we maybe do a little bit further research
yeah,
on that?
if we can do some research on that, then
And
find
find
out.
out officially what,
what the official that name is out there.
and if maybe either honorary or one could be called Drive and one an Avenue, but I don't know if that would be too similar for the county.
Yeah.
You know.
Probably would.
Yes, ma'am.
Von Andrews, the street in front of our church, we always listen it as Martin Luther King Boulevard. So now what are you calling? And I know that the street coming in, 441 coming in from Alachua, it's listed as Martin Luther King, but when you get into High Springs, it changes back to saying 441. So what is it?
That's
It
what
is
we're
Martin
saying.
Luther
Yeah.
King.
That's what we're saying.
We check.
Depends upon where you
We'll
are.
have to get the
We're
county.
gonna check.
where you
We're
are.
gonna check.
Yeah.
But the street in front of the church is listed as Martin Luther King Boulevard. Because when my people coming in from different areas coming to Allen Chapel, they punch it in and it shows up Martin Luther King Boulevard.
Used to.
But now it's on the
231.
list of had to have a new address now.
I mean, that's what it's showing up on GPS?
Not right now,
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Not
Because
yet.
I know that's what it
Takes a
is.
while for it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
but that shit gonna
10
be
years.
changed to 231.
Mhm.
The Martin Luther King?
Yes.
Okay, let me know because I have a district meeting in May.
I already talked to you. I talked to you
Okay,
next.
thank you.
So you wanna table it?
Yeah, till we can check,
All right.
to see exactly what that 441 is.
The next meeting, I will have the namers of the streets here.
Okay. Yeah.
The neighbors here.
So I'll make a motion to table this item to the next meeting for further information, pending further information.
We got a motion to table it. All in favor, come by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. Okay, Mr. Booth, got some surplus?
I do, you have a list of, there's 16 properties. One or two of them we're going to pull out of that. But generally, these are excess properties we've had on the books. We would like to put them on the tax roll. We would like to clean them up. And this is the first effort, and we will continue to do that. I took a trip down to Perry to look at their water plant. And when I was down there, they have really cleaned up that city. I mean, coming back and coming on 27, I was embarrassed from what I saw in Perry. And so this is our first effort. And so David's here. He looked at all the properties. I looked at most of them. They're truly surplus. We've had them on the books forever. I think we need to put them back into public stand.
You said there's some that need to be removed?
Only one, there's
Just
one next to the school.
Number 5.
Next to the ball field.
There's
one next to the ball field.
there's another one, number 3 on
Number
that
3?
list. I was gonna suggest that we remove that because it's right up, it backs right up to the community school.
Yeah.
And there had been some talk that if we were to purchase the Ladano property, that there may be some of that property, some would be given to the school, to the community school to expand. And if you look at it, this is a community school here, and then this piece here, and then the Ladano properties here. So I thought we should maybe pull that one, and with the idea of maybe eventually turning that over to the school, or seeing if the school would want that.
What we would do is accept sealed bids. We'll put it out, advertise it, accept sealed bids, probably with a minimum of $1,000. Transfer the title.
In reference to that, and this is a question, when you advertise it, there are on some of these properties, there are other properties that touch them, that the homeowner of that property that touches the property that we're declaring a surplus, may be interested in bidding for that property. Even though we put it out, I guess in the paper saying we're advertising, would it be, or could we, and would it be appropriate to send a letter to those homeowners or property owners of that touching those properties, so that they are very much aware that that property is up for bid, because they may want to expand their property or whatever? Or do we have to just put it out as advertising?
You would still need to advertise
Right.
it, but you could let the neighbors know. You could put a sign on the property as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, but as long as it's not just targeted just to those neighbors, as long as you're still doing
The
the
advertising,
advertisement,
right.
so that it's clear that it's open,
Mm-hmm.
everyone.
Yeah, what we'd like to do also is put a sign on each property saying for sale, lot number 1 or 2,
Mm-hmm.
and then seal bid.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, I would suggest that, that we certainly note, as part of that advertising, we notify the property owners that touch those properties.
Yeah, I definitely like that one, that number 1, that 25 by 75.
Yeah.
You really can't even,
True.
nobody probably won't buy it because what they're gonna do with it. It's adjacent to that person's property there.
Right.
And then that probably make them have that, probably one, like about 150 by 150 look like. Yes.
say we forgot, if we do send letters out to the property owner, say somebody out, that opens up.
We're not obligated to send anything to all of the neighbors, so that would just be an issue in your land development. So if you do have a real property policy that your city manager is following or bringing this, doing it. So if that required it, then you might have an issue if you didn't.
But it's easy enough to, I mean, I went on this afternoon and looked looked to see at the different pieces touching them, and there's on the property appraisal's office, there's a indication who owns and the address that you can just send out to them. I'll make a motion to approve or declaring approval to declare the listing of surplus properties with the exception of item 3 and item 5 to be declared a surplus property and for the city to go out to bid.
Mr. Mayor, we actually have a resolution prepared for the next meeting. Your manager just wanted to talk this over with you tonight, let you see the list, and so that way we'll have a formal list of all of them where you officially declared it as surplus.
So then I'll withdraw that.
But we will amend it to reflect removing items 3 and 5 on the list.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Within this process, and you do this, and you have this sealed bid type, is there going to be a stipulation within that within so much like time period, it has to be cleaned up?
Yes.
So it doesn't just remain? You follow what I'm saying? Is there something within there that when you win the bid, you've got 60 days in which to bring it up to code and so forth? Because if you're not going to do that, then it does no good for us to sell it.
Sure.
Right.
I think 90 days is what we were looking for. That gave them plenty of time to take possession and then clean it up. There are some properties that have abandoned vehicles on them.
Right.
I know Bruce went out and found live wires on some. So, we have a myriad of properties that are working. I know Courtney has been working with Newberry, and so she's fairly up on the process. This is just step one.
But I guess all I want to do is clarify that when you put out this bid, however you do that, within the bid, the stipulation will be in there, so when somebody bids, they know they have 90 days. If they were to get it, they have 90 days to bring it up to code.
Right.
Okay.
That's another small piece of property that belongs to the city that's not on here. If you look at that property is 0113. On Northwest 12th, Mr. Booth, there's a list. Definitely can't do nothing with that. I mean, you can't put a trash can on there.
How small is it?
It's small. I don't know, because I say a lot of property in this area, and probably Mike Kearney's fault, they walked it off instead of using technology today. Some people they walked them off, and then who knows, the line, he might have been feeling good that day, and he might have went on the straight line. The next day he might have went a little crooked. So it's all messed up. That's part of being on a small city, I guess. Okay.
Different shoe size.
Different shoe size. Yeah, it's a mess. Okay, any other questions on that?
Oh, there is one that we will include on the next meeting, and that is the bucket truck. The bucket truck is non-repairable. The vehicle is still running, but the bucket itself can't be repaired. We would like to sell that, and then with the
surplus.
proceeds, look at buying a new.
That one sitting out there in the park?
If it can't be repaired, you're gonna be able to sell it. Scrap, I guess.
It is, it's over 20 years old, and nobody will guarantee the work on those hydraulics. So once the truck has reached 20 years, it's non-repairable. And we have gone all around, and there isn't anyone in our back. Your mechanic won't touch it.
Alrighty. Moving on to item number 4, consider appointing John Manley to the High Springs Planning Board.
I see no reason why he shouldn't be appointed.
I'll make a motion to appoint John to the planning board. John's a good man.
Yes.
So, I'm excited that he would want it, so I make the motion to accept it.
I
second.
You could just get more people to step up, it would be nice.
Yes, that would
What
be
are we
one.
gonna do, say no?
Consider we got 2 vacancies.
And can I make a suggestion on that? I would very much like to see him go into the one that runs out in 2018.
You wanna keep him on forever, huh?
Yeah.
So we don't have to fill it again? For a while.
Rather than having him go through this again next year, because I think he is a very good candidate for this. So I would like to,
Agreed to fill, and I'll amend mine to fill the 2018
okay.
seat.
Any other questions? Anyone from the audience? Hearing none, all in favor, come by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. City Attorney.
No report.
Scott? Nothing?
Oh my gosh. Means we're not getting billed, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Booth?
I have a few things. I had a lot to talk about water, but I'm really going to say that we're just we are re-permitting the water plant at this time. It has been permitted to 2.2 parts per billion with chlorine, and we spend a tremendous amount of money on chlorine, putting it into the water system. In reevaluating our system, we look like we can go down to 0.5, which is 500% less. This will save us money, but more important, the reaction that the chlorine has to the dissolved solids will be so much less. We are still going to put in the hydrogen peroxide. That's the reason I went down to Perry, is to look at their plant, and they were the first in the state at our size to put in hydrogen peroxide, and it really works. He had the same reservation down there that I have. I don't want to put any more stuff in the water, but the truth is hydrogen peroxide is water, and within 100 feet it turns back into water after taking out the biosolids. And so, and then we put in the chlorine. So there absolutely is no effect to the water we drink, because it's just water that turns into. And we're not going to change anything else in the plant. And I won't talk too much about that, but we've had a new reevaluation plant by the Rural Water Association and their engineer. And so I think there were some mistakes made throughout from us, DEP, the engineer that we had at the time. That's all I'll say about that. I met with a that one contractor yesterday. And, David and I walked the water pipe system that we have CDP grant. He was supposed to get back to me this morning, but he has left word, actually we called him, that he is going to talk to Midtower in the morning and then get back to us. So I don't know what the issues are. He needs to talk to the engineer. And then I will put out an email telling you that he's either taking who would like to move fast on that. The Tuesday night, the fire chief, Bruce, and myself went to the county commission meeting. That was a very, it always is. They really have a lot of unique people to talk to. Our issue was how much they are paying us in it, and they had all the facts there. They had given money to Melrose. However, they've discovered that the additional money they gave to Melrose really provides service to another county, more so than us. So when they discovered that, then they ended the meeting as far as wanting to go forward, because we are in the middle of a contract and they want to do it at budget time. They collect some 190,000 in MSTU in the area that we provide service to, and we receive 145,000. So there's a delta there. They receive more money than they're paying us. We're asking for not a great amount of money, but we feel that we should be reimbursed at least at a reasonable rate. Our fire department, along with Newberry, are going to talk to the fire chief from Alachua County and then come up with some kind of a formula that's fair. Not with all the fire chiefs who are volunteer departments, laying out their needs and all the other things. We provide 4 firemen all the time that are trained and on duty. They're not maybe or open between 8 and 4. We're 24 hours a day with 4 firemen. We provide that level of service that Gainesville and Alachua County provide. So, you couldn't really tell with the level of service if you're not getting one of those, actually, Troy and Newberry. So, we'll be back at budget time, I guess, at the county. I have provided you a copy of the tree order that's gone through our attorney. It really came from Gainesville. I discussed our problems, and Gainesville was having the same problem at one time, and the interim manager of Gainesville is very well aware of this and the problems, and he was part of putting it together, the Gainesville ordinance. So our problem is that we've had 2 incidences in the last 30-some days. The last one just a couple days ago, where individual cut down hundreds of oak trees, and without a permit. Now there, a person has some rights to cut down trees, but we need a plan, and it has to be reasonable. I mean, there are lots that are overgrown, and you could probably remove a large number of trees, but you need to leave some trees. I guess the idea is we don't want to denude lots, because that then takes away from the lot next. And so nor do we want to be tree Nazis either. And that's not the idea, is to be so restrictive that you cut down a limb, we're going to send the police after you. We don't want to do that either, but we have to have the tools that if we find somebody, and in this case, actually Public Works, because they're always out, and they identified this individual really logging the lot. We need the ability to say stop and desist, and then be able to receive permits and then fine him if they don't get it. So if when you have an opportunity, I know the legal has looked at it, take a look at it, and we're looking for input. Then it'll come back to you for enforcement. So I'm sorry, to implement. That's it.
Manager, I wonder, is there a way that we could get our police, the town's name on the uniform or anything, so when they're speaking, they might be able to figure out it's not a lot?
I'm sorry, Chief. That's the one, okay? We have a very good relationship with the city of Alachua. And so occasionally somebody who'd spent 30 years with that department might.
It's understandable.
That's one.
The only thing I would say, I haven't read over the tree ordinance from Gainesville yet. I just know that at times I've heard that Gainesville is a little more on the side of tree knots than reasonable. So I just want to make sure that we don't go too far one way. Maybe where you can't cut a dead tree down on the back of your property.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, we're not going to, and I can tell you we're not doing that because at the present time, the building official and I do code enforcement. So we don't have people like Gainesville running around looking for it. And if we usually react when we get a complaint like from Public Works and that will go out. But yeah, if you have a dead tree, and I've gone out, there have been a place on 27 here, a gentleman was cutting down large trees, but I looked at it and those trees were dead from the inside out. And so, yeah, that's permissible.
Mr. Evans, the Gainesville ordinance is really complex, very long, and it has some good elements to it, namely identifying the difference between live oak and laurel oak and water oak, which is the type of oak that dies from the inside. So the good thing, hopefully what legal and manager will do is take the good pieces out of the Gainesville ordinance. Micanopy's redoing their ordinance. They've done a really nice job with identifying canopy and doing some innovative things. So between the Micanopy ordinance on one side and the Gainesville ordinance on the other, we should be able to come up with a draft ordinance that's hopefully pretty solid and not so complex that it really takes a lawyer to read through it. Hopefully we can get that.
We have trees in the land development code, but it's fairly vague in nature and it's designed more for subdivisions and PUDs and that. We're really looking for the lot that people could decide they don't like clear, but that's all.
Just real quick, I want to add on, for those of you who weren't here, we had the presentation at the beginning with the teachers and so forth over at the school and Officer Downey with this boy who was choking. I want to make sure that we also acknowledge the fact that the job that's being done by Mr. Downey is as far as keeping the kids safe. The district is a wide, and now I gotta be careful because I don't want to cross steps here being a school board employee, but what he's doing with the school as far as implementing safety procedures, and I'll leave it at that, is above and beyond most of the other schools and is to be applauded. We're in really good hands. He's doing a really, really effective job as far as preparing the kids and the staff that if an emergency situation were to hit, they would know exactly what to do. So I just want to make sure we understood that we're very fortunate. He's done an excellent job. Steve, I thank you. you would make sure that Mr. Downey, Officer Downey. Thanks.
I have two things. First, I would like to extend congratulations to our building official, Scott Thomason. He was appointed to a board, I don't have that information in front of me, by the governor to serve on some building. You know what the name of the board is?
But it's the licensing board.
Licensing board, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the professional licensing board.
So congratulations to him for being appointed. And the other thing, and I gave you all a piece of paper, I attended this emergency or incident command system overview the other day, and they gave a paper here on some of the other programs that they're going to be offering. On the front of it, it talks about it, and then on the back there are the topics that they're going, or the scenarios that they're going to cover in the dates. But one of the things that they're going to be doing and holding, I don't see it listed here, and we may want to I would like for us to contact them, is one would be on how to handle finances following an emergency, or what you have to do during an emergency situation for finance issues for our finance director to attend, and the other one deals with documentation, which I think our city clerk should attend, and probably our finance director. And unfortunately, the one I thought would be good as well for our IT person to attend on cyber issues was today. So, and I don't know when they're going to offer it again, but anyway, I've given this to the manager as well. I just want you all to be aware of it. And this is, it was a 4-hour overview of what official rules, the officials of the municipality requirements are and what they should do. And one of the things, and we may have them, I just don't know, of policies for an emergency situation. And if we do have them, then perhaps we should have at least a workshop for the commission so that they understand how that occurs and who does what. That's it.
I just have one thing that might be helpful to those of us who are supposed to be changing our address. I took time yesterday and I went over and sat and talked to the manager over at the post office because of a situation that specifically happened to me. I changed the address with a company that I deal with, and I asked them to send me some information, which they did. And because I had changed the address, of course they sent it to me with the new address on it. But when I got it, somebody had taken the time to type a label, and put the old address on it, covered up the new address. Okay? So, of course, I blame the post office. So that was why I went over to sit and talk with her. But in doing that, I found out I was in error. I should not have blamed the post office. It seems as if when we got that letter that says change your address immediately, we should not have done that. According to her, by law, she says there is a 90-day period that they have before they have to change all these addresses. And her suggestion is if you have not already changed yours, put it off until the end of March or the early part of April. That will alleviate you getting some headaches that you don't want to have to deal with. So I just thought I'd bring it up.
Well, then the Mr. Godwin needs to be advised of that, so that that unfortunately it's already happened to us, but so that in the future they don't tell us just, you have to change the addresses right away, at least not post office, for post office purposes.
Yeah, she says it's giving them the list isn't the end of the process. It takes them some time to change everything that they have to change so that they will know where to take the mail. So if you haven't already done it, hold up on it a little bit. Save yourself some trouble.
It takes the federal government time to do something.
You never would have thought so, right? Okay, that's it. I'm done.
Mr. Booth, I apologize, I just, Mr. Booth,
Yes, sir.
I just seen this. I'm just seeing this, I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right, sir.
I think it's gone now, but at Kathleen Taylor Park, there's a outlet on the back of those bathrooms. And they're gonna destroy that box. So I don't know, I know you can't lock it. Anyway, we can fix it or put some kind of cover over it.
We'll look and try to do something.
Yeah, I don't know if we can lock it by law.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Maybe we need to do something because like some what kids doing is being kids. And they sticking stuff in them.
You know,
Yeah, and then- oh yeah, kids would be kids. Be kids.
we pick somebody up that's sparking, we know what it means.
Yeah, so if we can look into that, I don't know.
Yes, sir.
Put a box
take a
over
look
it
and
or something, just use them when,
put a bear
Ask-
trap down there.
yeah, and then they fall in the hole. Okay, that's all I have. So it's 7:30. If it had been 7:15, I was gonna let y'all leave until 7:30. That's right, Mike. I'm gonna hold you for at least an hour.
Motion to adjourn.
So you gotta go listen to the debate tonight.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.